Welcome to another episode of People's Instinctive Travels. My name is Kevin Cruz, and I am your host. In this episode, I interviewed Oscar from Heavy Metal Racket. Now, before we get into the interview, I want to give you guys a little background history on Oscar and Heavy Metal Racket. So, I first initially met Oscar through email. Back in 2012, he was a part of a beat battle here in Houston called Space City Beat Battle. I sent him an email, sent some beats. He said I qualified, and I couldn't go through with it. I felt like I didn't have enough good beats, talked myself out of it, so I just didn't do it. But I would still go to the beat battles, and I would see him there, but I never met him. It wasn't until I was working on the Donkey Show with Donkey Boy and Bentley that I met him, and we first interviewed him on camera. After that, Bentley interviewed him for his podcast, Boys in the Barrio. I was a part of it too. Now, here I am interviewing him for my series, People's Instinctive Travels. The reason why I wanted to interview him some more is because I feel like there's a whole lot more to get into with him and his brand. I feel like Heavy Metal Racket is a brand that holds a lot of history, both musically, culturally here in Houston, and I feel it represents something timeless. So I'll let Oscar let you guys know more about the brand.
So with Heavy Metal Racket, it's basically a fusion of two cultures. When I initially started it off, it was a fusion of rap, hip-hop, and heavy metal, hard rock, classic rock. As time went on and I started cutting boundaries and I stopped being so fearful, I guess you could say, I just started being more true to me, and it became more so a fusion of Houston culture, Houston hip-hop, and heavy metal, because that is really more specifically what I am. When I first started off, I wanted it to be more broad because I figured I'd be more successful if I wouldn't limit it to Houston. But along the line, I started seeing, man, you can walk into certain stores in any city across America and it's gonna have what I guess people consider to be the main cities, which is your LA, Miami, New York, and if you're asking me, I feel like Houston was the best city in the world, so I just felt like if somebody from Houston will buy a shirt that says LA on the front, why can't I be the brand that makes people in LA buy a shirt that says Houston on the front? You know what I'm saying? The world done been screwed up, so there's no reason why we can't bask in that glory.
You already know. DJ Screw, know what I'm saying? Screwed up click. A-Town, Texas, this nice, yeah. A-Town, Texas, A-Town, Texas.
Music is an important part of Houston culture. It's also one of the main factors of Heavy Metal Racket. It's in the name. So, I'll let Oscar let you guys know more about how music, specifically album covers, influence the brand.
Well, man, as a kid, you know, and I think this is with anybody across all genres, album covers are a very big part of music. You know what I'm saying? If you hear a lot of old school producers and DJs, they'll tell you when they were picking records for sampling, a lot of times they'll pick up albums just based on the covers. You know what I'm saying? And that, I think, has always been something real strong for me. I like very simple and bold designs. That's what's always stuck out to me. And I mean, it's within the rap community too, but more so I think you find a lot of those bold, timeless images on classic rock albums, and those obviously impact me along with the music, so I was always wanting to kind of take that and add my own flavor to it, kind of like I said earlier, with merging the cultures, merging the genres, seeing how I can take this and make it a little more Houston, a little more Texas, a little more what we came up on, things like that.
Their music isn't like garbage, you know? They know how to get the crowd going. It's music.
We do what we want to do, you know? If they consider that selling out, then whatever.
You got to say
Aside from music, I'm also a fan of movies and comic books. I really dig how Heavy Metal Racket implements all these pop culture references into its brand. I'll let Oscar let you guys know more about that.
So aside from music, there are other pop culture references, other cultures involved in my clothing line. I'm an 80s baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm older than I look. I'm 30 years old. I was born in 88. And coming up, man, you know, being that heavy metal influenced me, rock music influenced me, at that time, that was the pop music of the era, you know. Arguably the biggest genre at the time. So that genre influenced pop culture, you know what I'm saying? You had the rockers in WWF, you had, you know, people like Sting, you know, Shawn Michaels, the rockers, the Ultimate Warrior, of course, you know, even down to his theme song, man, you know. So I came up watching that stuff, man. I came up also a huge comic book fan, huge fan of Marvel, Spider-Man, always has been, always will be my number one, man. And you know, what Marvel's been doing in films is pretty dope. But so yeah, man, you know, tying it all back into my culture and into what I do, pretty much just being nostalgic of how I came up, you know what I'm saying? Back when I used to watch wrestling all the way up into the Attitude Era with Stone Cold, The Rock, you know, the NWO, that WCW stuff. So basically just anything that coincided with that whole genre, but also just things that influenced me, you know what I'm saying? That's the beauty of having your own thing, is I do whatever the hell I want, you know what I'm saying? I try not to stray too far, and if I do stray into something that's kind of far off, I always try to make something, tie it in somehow to where you get it, you know what I mean? Like with that whole gauntlet flip, you know, we was calling it the gauntlet full of stones, and you know what I'm saying? He's throwing up that H-Town, and he's got the Texas on his hand, and I try to tie it in and keep it all tied in together so you get the reference. It's there, you know, even if it may be something that you feel is too far off what my brand is, you still know that I got my touch on it, you know what I'm saying?
The last question I asked Oscar is, what is one thing he wants people to know about him as a human, as a person? Because at the end of the day, Heavy Metal Racket is a business. We do pay money for shirts, hoodies, hats, posters, and everything else he releases. I feel like we put our money into the brand because we fuck with it, we fuck with what it represents, and we fuck with Oscar. I feel like he does a great job of being a face behind the brand. It gives the brand some personality and a human feel to it. It's the reason why I did this interview. I wanted to showcase him and the brand. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Check out his response. Check out the website. I'm going to put all the links right here. Yeah, check it out. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.
As a human, man, I want everybody to win, dog. You know, I ain't into holding nobody back. I ain't into stepping on anybody's toes. I'm into everybody could be successful. You know what I'm saying? I try to stay out of the negativity. I try to stay out of arguing with people. I try to stay out of conversations that's gonna keep somebody down. You know what I'm saying? I think we're all on our own path. We don't know what somebody may be going through, and I think if you can't help somebody, shit, by all means, help them out. You know what I'm saying? Within reason. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta set limitations on yourself. We live in a world where mental health is a big deal to people. You know what I mean? As it should be. And I think one thing we gotta remember, man, is just to seek happiness. I know that sounds easier said than done, but when you create a habit of seeking happiness and straying from negativity and straying from arguing with people about pointless things, I think you'll see a dramatic change in how your life starts to reflect positivity. You know what I'm saying? I always tend to think if I'm worried about what somebody else is doing, then that's time I'm taking away from putting into me. You know, that's how I stay motivated. That's how I stay positive, by trying to stray from negativity. makes you follow positive and keeps you motivated to want to keep doing bigger, better things. You know what I'm saying? There's always somebody above you that's going to be doing something that you want to be doing. So learn from them, look to them. Instead of knocking them because you ain't there, see what you can learn from them. Ask them. You know, Houston's a pretty friendly place, man. And really get to try to link up with people and ask them some things. Typically, they're willing to give you some sort of advice, at least, to let you know what you got to do to get there. But it's a city of hustlers, man. And I think a hustler can recognize another hustler. If they see you ain't hustling, they may not want to waste too much energy on trying to help you get where you want to be. But I think hard work is recognized. And when people see that, they'll help you out. You know what I'm saying? People willing to lend a helping hand.